Hey guys, and thank you for tuning in to another video. Today we're going to talk about compensated handguns, and I've got two examples for today's video. One's going to be this X Macro build with a Radian afterburner and ramjet, and the other is my SIG X10 comp. There's a couple pros for having compensators on a handgun, which obviously they can help mitigate the recoil or the muzzle rise, muzzle flip, and there's some downsides to it. They can potentially, throw off excess gas, flames, things of that nature. And also, if you're having to use one of these at night, it could potentially decrease your night vision capability. However, with that, I do challenge everybody to test your ammunition that you decide to carry day or nighttime, especially nighttime if you do carry a different load for the night, and make sure that even with a non-compensated handgun that you're not receiving excess flash. Because even some handguns with some types of ammunition, you will get excess muzzle blast that will decrease your night vision, and it doesn't matter if you got a ported barrel or a compensator or not. So just make sure you're getting your handguns out and you're testing them during both daytime and nighttime to see that you're getting the performance that you want. This is going to be part one of two for this particular series, but about a year ago or last fall I shot this X10 at night with Winchester Defender 180 grain jacketed hollow point, and there was no discernible amount of blast coming from this single port comp than if I was shooting a non-compensated handgun.
And here we go.
All right. And the way that some of these work is, if I can show it or if you can see it, it's solid on the sides and it's solid on the bottom, and then there's a cutout up here at the top. And what that does is when the gases come out right before the projectile does, it theoretically forces all the gases to escape upward to help push down on the muzzle. How much does it work? I don't know. Does it actually work? I'm not sure. Even if it helps just a couple of percentage, then to me that's a good thing, or can be a good thing. But we're going to put that to the test. I'm going to do a couple drills to demonstrate if this is a viable option for self-defense. So stay tuned. Let's chronograph this 124 grain plus P HST out of this X Macro build and see what kind of velocities we're attaining. Stand by. Ten shots, average 1,170.9 feet per second. For this first demonstration, I've got 124 HST plus P loaded up in this X Macro, and I'm going to place the compensator, or I'm going to place the cardboard right on top of the compensator, and we're going to see what happens. I did have a pretty significant amount of blast. Let's try another drill. For this next demonstration, I have just a standard wooden yardstick. I'm going to place this on top of the compensator and see what happens. Stand by. Let's see if I can do it like that. Let me try that one more time. This next drill would be considered a confetti drill, where if you had a standard cardboard target and you had a piece of paper here, when you shot like this, you would have paper confetti going everywhere. But this would replicate a contact shot if you're actually having a fight up close. Now, you want to cant the handgun outward to where the slide has the best opportunity to avoid hitting anything, causing a malfunction. All right, so if somebody were coming up on you and attacking you, you could either push and come back and then shoot, or, you know, if the person has their arms around you and you're having a fight, then you can just draw the gun and shoot them in the stomach or shoot them wherever you can. So the purposes of this, we're trying to get the maximum amount of muzzle blast that we can. So I'm going to be shooting up close. Okay, I got my hand out of the way. I know what I'm shooting at, know what's behind me. We're going to try it. Here we go. All right, for this next evolution, we're going to take the 10 millimeter with standard 180 grain full metal jacket. It's a little bit more powerful than the 9 millimeter, but it's not full bore, or it's not full NATO spec ammunition. Got another piece of cardboard. I'm going to place the compensator right up underneath it, and we're going to fire off around and see what happens. Make sure I can get this on camera. Then there wasn't as much pressure coming up out of this comp as it was from the Radian. Try it again. There we go. The second shot actually went through the cardboard. Let's move on to the next test. All right, now we got the yardstick back out. We're going to use the other end, place it above the port, and we're going to fire round. Got a little bit of carbon on it, but let's try it again. All right, same thing. We're in a close hand-to-hand fight with our guy here. 10 millimeter, see what happens. For an everyday carry gun, I have absolutely no issue with the SIG X10 comp for nighttime use. At least with the ammunition that I carry, which is a Winchester Defender 180 grain bonded jacketed hollow point. Now later this fall, probably in November, I plan on doing a night shoot, and I do want to try one of the fastest 180s on the market. That's the Buffalo Bore 180 Heavy, which is item number 21 Bravo, and I want to try that at night. I believe they claim that there is a flash suppressant in the powder. But like I said earlier, you have to get your ammunition out in your guns in your area and try and see, how they perform. But at least with the Winchester, with this gun at night, it works great. It's perfectly fine. It's very accurate. I like the performance of the bullet. The downside is the velocity is a little lacking for what I would like in a 10 millimeter, but it's still faster than a 40. And this still has every bit of 100-yard effective range from this particular handgun. From the Radian afterburner ramjet setup in this macro, I do have some reservation about how much pressure is coming out of the compensator. But having said that, I don't believe it's going to be a detriment or something that I would say don't carry. Now, when I do my night shoot, probably in November, I do want to try some ammunition to see how it performs at night. Maybe the 124 plus PHST might be too much or produce too much flash. I might need to try 147 grain. No telling. But I plan on gathering a few different defensive loads for this 9 millimeter and giving it a try. Now, to get a compensator for a handgun, that's going to boil down to personal preferences. If you like to have one, by all means get one. If you don't. For the SIG X10, I have no plans on putting a compensator on it. That handgun mitigates recoil of all the 10 millimeter guns the best, in my opinion. Between the X10 and the X10 comp, they do a very nice job. When it comes to 9 millimeter, it's not really a bad round, requiring a compensator or ported barrel. Even if it reduces recoil by 5%, 10%, 20%, every little bit is nice, especially the smaller the gun, the lighter the gun that you go with, and the hotter the cartridge, you will generate more recoil, more muzzle flip. Even though the X macro with this radian setup demonstrated a considerable amount of pressure, I wouldn't rule this out for self-defense or EDC use. The likelihood of actually hand-to-hand fighting with somebody in a average everyday civilian deadly threat encounter is probably pretty slim. You're more likely to be within bad breath distance out to, I think the FBI says about 7 yards or so, and that's not going to be an issue. The real takeaway with all this is just making sure that you're not having excessive muzzle flash at night with whatever ammunition you're carrying. So having said that, the main point is just get your guns out, train with them, shoot them, know what their capabilities are, know what their limitations are, and just have fun. Stay safe, carry everywhere that you can, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Take care.